It's a suggestion of Roland Griffith, who, the psychedelic researcher, who before that was the world's leading expert on caffeine. And I was interviewing him about caffeine for this chapter. And he said, well, you're never going to understand your relationship to caffeine until you get off it. So it was kind of a dare. And it was really hard. It was one of the hardest things I've done.
Really?
Oh, I was a mess.
For how long?
3 months.
You're a mess until you...
I was functional after a month. The first week I was not functional at all. I felt like I had contracted ADD. I could not stay on track. Everything, the periphery just kept intruding on my thinking. I couldn't write. I mean, writing is the most linear thing you can do, right?
Right.
And it's all about concentration, obviously. And I couldn't concentrate. And I felt like there was this veil between me and reality that, I was not quite seeing, getting, feeling. And it was weird. I didn't feel myself for the whole time. But I think we have a debt to these plants that we owe them. And so I spent a lot of time in that researching that chapter, looking back in history for when caffeine enters the West. So we actually have a before and after, which we don't with a lot of drugs because they just go back, millennia. And before caffeine, it was a very different world and a very different consciousness. People were drunk a lot of the time, buzzed almost all of the time. People drank morning, noon, and night because it was safer than water, right? Water was really how you got diseases. If you fermented things, even low alcohol, it killed a lot of the microbes. So people, even kids, you gave your kids hard cider for breakfast.
Wow.
And this was true in America up until the 1800s, up until Prohibition. But anyway, caffeine comes along in the 1650s, and tea and chocolate and coffee all arrive in the same decade in England, which is kind of like great decade, right? And things start to change.